to Wake Up America weekend. Now, the historic arraignment of former President Donald Trump has sparked a lot of reaction among the GOP. The New York Times reporting some statements from Republicans compare the United States under the Biden administration to a banana republic.
So what could this mean for the future of the party as we inch closer to the presidential primary? Let's welcome in Republican strategist Krysia Lenzo and former New York Congressman Max Rose. Welcome to both of you. We appreciate you coming into the studio.
Of course.
Congressman, we'll start with you. So should Donald Trump still run for president considering all the legal troubles, or should he drop out of the race?
Well, that's up to Donald Trump. I certainly hope that he never is on the ballot ever again. But I'm not
because
sure.
You know he could win.
I'm not sure that's a commentary. I'm scared as hell that he could win, and we should not take this lightly. I do think that there's a couple of things that we can agree on here, and thank you again for having me. It's great to see you again, Congressman. The first is that this is such a sad moment for this country. You know, we both served in combat. Nobody wants to see former President of the United States indicted. Nobody, right? We need to come together in this country. The second thing that we can all agree on is that you are innocent until proven guilty, and we all have to respect that.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, these are serious charges, right? This is serious stuff that we're talking about. It impacts potentially our national security. I think that there's evidence pointing to the fact that President Trump acted recklessly, and we have got to let this process stay out and have respect for the great men and women in our law enforcement system.
Absolutely.
So in reaction to that,
I'm jumping out of my
holding
seat.
back.
So Krysia, I'm giving it to you.
Here it goes. I mean, look, let's cut to the chase here. Yes, we could all.
What I just said.
I agree with everything you said in theory, but the reality is, when it comes to the allegations against President Trump, we know the same allegations are against our current president for doing much more as this former senator, which we know that clearly goes against the Espionage Act, which dates back to 1917. And what Donald Trump did, we Americans recognize that this is a political persecution of a former president who's now running for office against an elected official who's in charge of the DOJ, who's at the helm, who's leading this investigation. So yes, in theory, we would all like to let this play out as it will, but we also have to recognize that there are different standards under our judicial system.
Well, on that note, Congressman, if I could, right? So if you go back in time, now we know from the military, if you had a classified document, you left it out by accident just to go to the latrine very fast. I would say the head in the Marine Corps, but I know it's a latrine for you Army guys, right? And you came back, you committed the crime at that point. Even though you didn't mean to, there's no intent. If you were reckless and left it out, you're responsible. Hillary Clinton was under subpoena, all this information on a server, on her cell phones, all that. And the FBI director said, well, she didn't have intent to do anything wrong. It doesn't matter. There is no intent. So she got a pass. And then you look at President Biden and all these documents from the Senate and from Vice President in his garage, not at Mar-a-Lago where they have Secret Service protection. So, I mean, is it a double standard?
Well, first of all, I'm always impressed when a Marine can put together a full sentence. So thank you for that.
The gloves are off.
So, look, I think that consistently where the Republican Party is coming at this is the whataboutism, right? Mm-hmm. Because obviously, and if I were a Republican, I would do the same, these pictures of these boxes and tapes of Donald Trump saying I can't classify or declassify this now. Information about invading Iran. This is highly sensitive stuff, and you obviously want to distract from that. Of course, in the United States of America, nobody should be above the law. A former Democratic leader, a former Republican leader. But here's what I'm curious about, right? If we say that there's been this weaponization of government under Joe Biden, right? That suddenly he has been able to marshal the forces of the Justice Department to achieve his political aims. That's constantly the argument we say, well, if he's doing it, so on and so forth. Why couldn't Donald Trump have done that? Was he just so incompetent as a leader of the executive branch that he couldn't weaponize the government? This is all awfully insane and designed to distract from the actual facts of the case.
I know you want a rebuttal here,
sure.
Krysia, you do, but I just want to get this poll up quickly because it's quite interesting. It says that it's by YouGov and CBS, and it said that when asked if the indictment will change your view of Donald Trump, 61% of people said it would not change. Now, does this show his base support, or is it just a question of whether this is politically motivated?
I think it's a combination of the two. It shows his strong base support and also the fact that the American people are smart enough to know that there have been numerous impeachments, indictments, and also documentation such as the letters signed by the 51 government officials who basically said that the Hunter Biden laptop was disinformation. I mean, American people refuse to be duped again. And in this case, when it comes to this indictment, it's again hard to believe that, again, Donald Trump committed espionage.
So let's just switch to the former vice president. This is his thoughts on the Trump indictment. Take a listen.
I had a chance to review the indictment over the weekend, and this indictment contains serious charges, and I cannot defend what is alleged. The very prospect that what is alleged here took place, creating an opportunity where highly sensitive classified material could have fallen into the wrong hands, even inadvertently. That jeopardizes our national security. It puts at risk the men and women of our armed forces.
So, Congressman, the former vice president kind of agrees with you on this. How do you think this plays out, though, for both sides? It's again, the more the Democrats push it, the Republicans push back with Biden's documents. So how does this work?
Never in my wildest dreams did I say I stand with Mike Pence. Here's the thing, right? There's a heated Republican primary going on right now. And if anyone, it's my humble opinion, if anyone actually wants to defeat Donald Trump in that Republican primary, they're going to have to take this head on. They can't say, oh, I support him, I defend him, this and that, but vote for me. It's political lunacy. Let's flash back. Imagine a scenario. It's 1999, and John McCain gets indicted. Could you imagine under any circumstances George Bush standing up and saying, I support John McCain? Hell no. He would go all in and use that as a means to win the primary.
30 seconds, Krysia, to wrap it up.
I just think that when we look at the current indictment, I mean, we recognize that we have a president who is going after a former president, a future candidate, and this is definitely, from a Republican perspective, election interference. Let the American people decide. Let them look at the case on the merits. As you said, we agree, Congressman, on the fact that at this point nothing has been proven and it's a lot of political posturing.
Well, we're going to have to leave it there, but I want to thank you, Krysia, so much, and our Congressman. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you both
It's good to
so
see
much.
you as well.